Happy Christmas, everyone, and welcome to a deep dive.
Ooh, festive.
I know, right? It's one that's sure to warm even the frostiest of hearts.
I like that.
Thanks. We're venturing into the world of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol.
A classic.
You know, the one with the ghosts and the humbug and a healthy dose of festive redemption.
It's a story deeply ingrained in British culture.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
But before we get swept away by the ghostly chills and heartwarming cheers of Dickens' prose,
Right.
I wanted to give a shout out to a YouTube channel that I think you'll absolutely love,
Okay.
especially if you're enjoying this deep dive.
Ooh, which one?
It's called Insightful Odyssey.
Insightful Odyssey. I've heard of them. They're great.
Yeah, they offer deep dives into a range of topics,
History and literature.
current events and pop culture.
I like how they make complex subjects engaging and thought-provoking.
Me too. Definitely check them out on YouTube if you're looking to expand your knowledge and understanding of the world around you.
So,
Just search for Insightful Odyssey. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more brilliant content like this.
yes, do that. Now back to Dickens.
Okay, so this academic analysis
Right.
argues that Dickens poured his whole self into his Christmas stories.
There weren't just spooky tales for a bit of holiday fun.
No.
Yeah.
They offered a sharp critique of Victorian society.
Particularly its treatment of the poor and the growing gap between the rich and the destitute.
And one thing that always strikes me about Dickens is his incredible ability to create memorable characters.
Oh, absolutely. The analysis even suggests that he rivals Shakespeare in this regard.
What do you think?
I'd have to agree Dickens doesn't just describe his characters.
No.
He breathes life into them. He uses distinctive speech patterns and vivid physical descriptions, and even the smallest gestures to reveal their personalities and their place in society.
It's true. Take Scrooge, for instance.
Oh, Scrooge, the epitome of the miserly, cold-hearted character.
At least at the beginning.
Yes, remember those iconic lines? Hard and sharp as flint, solitary as an oyster.
Reveling in his isolation.
Exactly. Those descriptions immediately conjure up an image of a man who has shut himself off from human connection.
Yes. He's emotionally stunted, almost fossilized in his bitterness.
But even in those early descriptions, Dickens hints at the possibility of transformation.
That's so true. There's a sense that beneath that icy exterior, there's a flicker of something else.
Yes.
Something that the right experiences might reawaken.
And those experiences, of course, come in the form of the three ghosts.
The ghosts. Each one forces Scrooge to confront a different aspect of his life.
His past, his present, and the terrifying potential of his future.
With each ghostly encounter, we see cracks appearing in Scrooge's hardened shell.
He weeps for his younger self, delighting in the simple joys of Fezziwig's Christmas party.
Right.
And recoiling in horror at the bleak future the ghost of Christmas yet to come reveals.
Those scenes are so vivid and emotionally charged.
Yes.
I particularly love the description of Scrooge's transformation on Christmas morning.
Oh.
He throws open his window, and Dickens writes, "No fog, no mist, clear, bright, jovial, stirring cold, golden sunlight, heavenly skies, merry bells. Oh, glorious, glorious."
It's like the darkness has lifted both literally and metaphorically.
Absolutely. It's like Dickens is showing us that even in the depths of winter, in the darkest corners of the human heart, there's always the possibility of warmth, of light, of redemption.
That's a lovely thought. That's the real genius of A Christmas Carol, isn't it?
It really is.
It's not just a spooky ghost story. It's a story about the transformative power of compassion and generosity.
Right. And speaking of compassion,
Yes.
we can't forget about the Cratchit family.
The Cratchits.
Their story is interwoven with Scrooge's, highlighting the stark contrast between their poverty and his wealth.
Absolutely. They're struggling to make ends meet.
Yeah, but they face their hardships with such grace and good humor.
I love that about them.
Me too. They really embody the true spirit of Christmas.
Sharing what little they have.
And finding joy in the simplest of things.
Yes, and Tiny Tim,
Oh, Tiny Tim.
with his sweet nature and unwavering optimism.
I know, he becomes a symbol of innocence and vulnerability.
Dickens really tugs at the heartstrings with his portrayal of Tiny Tim.
He does. And that's where Dickens's social commentary really hits home.
Right.
He's not just entertaining us with a ghost story.
No, he's holding a mirror up to Victorian society.
Right, forcing readers to confront the plight of the poor and the indifference of the wealthy.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. Have you ever felt that weight of societal expectations during the holidays?
Oh gosh, yes. The pressure to spend and consume.
Even when it might be beyond your means.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's challenging us to consider our own role in perpetuating those inequalities.
Yeah. Are we like Scrooge at the beginning, turning a blind eye to the suffering around us?
That's a tough question.
It is. It's a question that's still relevant today.
Very much so.
We may not have debtors' prisons or workhouses anymore,
True.
but we still see poverty and inequality and a lack of compassion in our modern world.
Absolutely. A Christmas Carol serves as a timeless reminder that those issues haven't gone away,
It's like a call to action.
urging us to be more mindful of those less fortunate.
Mm-hmm. To extend a helping hand.
Yes, and to advocate for a more just and equitable society.
But it's not just about grand gestures or systemic change, is it?
Not at all.
Dickens also shows us the power of small acts of kindness.
He does think of Scrooge's transformation.
Yeah.
It starts with seemingly insignificant moments.
Like what?
Stopping to chat with the charity collectors.
Okay.
Genuinely connecting with his nephew Fred.
Right.
Sending a turkey to the Cratchits.
These acts of kindness, however small.
They ripple outwards, creating a more compassionate and joyful world.
And it's those small acts that ultimately lead to Scrooge's grand gesture of raising Bob Cratchit's salary.
Oh, that's such a wonderful moment.
It's pure joy and relief.
Not just for Bob, but for Scrooge himself.
He's finally breaking free from the chains of his own miserly nature.
Embracing the true spirit of Christmas.
But some might argue that Scrooge's transformation is a bit too sudden.
Too easy.
Yeah. What do you think?
It's true that Dickens is a master of melodrama,
Right.
but I think the story's power lies not necessarily in its realism, but in its symbolic message.
Oh, like that.
It's a reminder that we all have Scrooge moments.
Times when we're selfish or grumpy or disconnected from those around us.
Yes, exactly. Like when we rush through the crowded streets, ignoring the carol singers.
Or grumbling about the holiday frenzy.
I've all been there.
Definitely. But the story offers hope.
Hope that we can always choose to be better.
To embrace the spirit of kindness and generosity that Scrooge embodies in the end.
It's a reminder that it's never too late to change.
To make amends, to spread a little Christmas cheer.
Now, speaking of spreading cheer,
Okay.
let's return to the academic analysis for a moment. It argues that Dickens's Christmas stories are often misconstrued as simple ghost stories.
When they actually contain profound works of social commentary.
That's right. Dickens was a keen observer of his time.
And his writing often reflected the social ills he witnessed.
In A Christmas Carol, he's not just telling a spooky tale.
He's exposing the injustices of Victorian society.
The poverty and suffering that existed alongside immense wealth and privilege.
And he's doing it in a way that's both entertaining and thought-provoking.
Weaving social commentary into a captivating narrative that continues to resonate with readers centuries later.
It's a story that encourages us to reflect on our own values.
To examine our relationships with those around us.
And to consider how we can contribute to a more compassionate and just world.
And in that sense, it's a story that remains as relevant today as it was in Dickens's time.
A call to action urging us to look beyond the surface.
To see the humanity in others.
And to embrace the true spirit of Christmas. It really makes you think about how this story connects to our own lives, even though we live in a very different world than Victorian England.
You're right. While we may not face the same social conditions as Dickens' time, the themes of the story, greed, compassion, redemption.
Those are universal. We've all encountered Scrooges in our lives, haven't we?
Oh, definitely.
People who seem consumed by their own self-interest, who have lost sight of the true meaning of generosity and kindness.
And I think we've probably all had Scrooge moments ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Times when we've prioritized our own needs above others.
It's easy to judge Scrooge.
What?
When we look closely at his journey, we can see reflections of our own struggles with selfishness and compassion.
Exactly. And just as Scrooge is offered a chance at redemption,
Right.
we too have opportunities to make amends, to change our ways, to embrace the spirit of generosity that Dickens celebrates.
It's never too late to turn things around
Absolutely.
and become a better version of ourselves.
And it's not just about grand gestures or dramatic transformations.
Right.
It's about the small, everyday choices we make.
How we treat those around us.
Exactly.
How we use our resources. How we choose to spread kindness and joy.
Those small acts of kindness can have a ripple effect.
Creating a more positive and compassionate world.
One interaction at a time, just like Scrooge's seemingly insignificant actions ultimately lead to his larger transformation.
And remember Tiny Tim's famous line.
Oh, God bless us, everyone.
Such a simple yet profound statement,
It really is.
reminding us of the interconnectedness of humanity,
A call for unity.
for understanding, for recognizing our shared humanity, regardless of our circumstances.
That's what Dickens is advocating for in A Christmas Carol, isn't it?
A world where compassion triumphs over greed, where we look out for one another, and where we embrace the true spirit of generosity, not just at Christmas, but all year round.
Precisely. And that final image of Scrooge, a changed man.
Radiating joy and generosity.
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder that we all have the capacity for transformation.
We can choose to break free from the chains of our own making
The chains of greed, indifference, and isolation.
and embrace a life filled with meaning, connection, and love.
It's a beautiful thought.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into A Christmas Carol,
Yes.
we'll leave you with this thought-provoking question. What chains do we forge in our own lives? And how can we break free from them to embrace the true spirit of generosity and compassion that Dickens so beautifully portrays?
It's a question worth pondering this Christmas season and beyond.
It is. And with that, we wish you all a very happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas!